right, so it is December of 2012, which means we are just 1 month away from starting up some 2013 research, which I'm very excited about. If we go and take a look at our research so far, we have made almost $900 million, just over $850 million, since 2003. So in less than 10 years, which is pretty huge, to be quite honest. And we haven't even started making money for 2012 because we haven't patented 2012 yet, but we're very close to doing that. So I'm expecting that at some point we will have a total sum of over $1 billion from research, which is very exciting. And I'm very happy about that. I'm very glad we got into the research side of things. I don't think that's something we've ever really bothered with all that much. So it's very, very cool that we've done that. I've also just noticed that NextCon, if I'm not mistaken, that is 1,250% followers, which means interesting. There's 2 of them. Okay, well, okay then. That's not really what I was expecting from the hyping there. We have 20 followers on Nextbox, which does go out in November next year. We're very, very close to the release of that console, which I'm very, very excited about. Obviously, Sergeant Stabby Face 3. I would like to get that out, probably 2014. And Nerdrasoft Nebula, I'm going to guess 2015 for Nerdrasoft Nebula, and I'm hoping it's going to be a late 2014, but I'm thinking 2015, probably mid 2015 for our first phone. But before we get to any of that, I really want to deal with this problem that we're having where there is no level 1 audio programmer working on updating Private Stabby Face, which is slowing things down a little bit. Now, we have some options for how we can deal with this. If I turn on room labels, this building it's pretty much full, right? This building is pretty much full. We could obviously bring some more night shift teams in here, which I'm not really against doing. I think we could maybe speed up antivirus with another night shift team. The office stuff could have a night shift team. Consoles and phones could have night shift teams. Same with the operating systems, 3D editors, 2D editors, and so on and so forth. But that seems a lot less interesting than what I want to do, because what I want to do is something that's probably a little bit silly, but I want to build a tower, or at least start building a tower up here, because this was the original idea for these buildings. You might remember back when I sort of started working on these, I mentioned that the idea was to expand upwards, and then I put this little courtyard in here, and there were a bunch of comments, rightly so, that were like, hey, how are you going to do the tower thing? And I have a bit of an idea for how I'm going to do the tower thing, but there's 2 potential ways that I want to do the tower. Way number 1 is by sort of blocking off sections like this, and we just sort of go the entire way around here, blocking off sections like that. We can sort of connect those corners, and then we have a little tower in the middle, which I think would look interesting. I could curve some of the fronts of that, but what I was also thinking was that maybe we do something more like this. We have a 45 there, we go across the same length as this section, and we have a 45 there, and it gives us something that has a bit more of an interesting shape to it. And I'm kind of thinking that's what I want to do. So we're going to just build out this little cutaway section the entire way around the tops of these buildings. And then I should be able to select those and delete those, which frees up that entire space, which gives us a bit of an interesting shape. And I can just go in here with some walls and basically just build this as the shape of our tower. So it can go the entire way around like this. And so that can sort of stack up and face the front of the building here, which I think is okay. I could, if I wanted to, still do some little curves. I'm sure like this could potentially curve out a little bit. And I think that's interesting looking. I don't know that I love that. We'll do it in sort of all little corners here and just see what that happens to look like. I don't know that I love that, but I will admit it's a lot more interesting looking than just sort of what would that have been, an octagon looking tower. So we'll stick with this for now. But the problem is, how do we get in here? And that's kind of where this courtyard comes into play, because my thinking is we get rid of it. We go in here, we build something like this. And in this space, I do want to make a point of having access straight through from the front to the back of the facility. So we want to go through here, and we're going to want to have some kind of door on this side. So we'll do glass and glass. I'm not too worried about people going from left to right here, but straight through from front to back. I think that's important. Now we do need stairs and we are going to need elevators, and that's going to make things slightly tricky. And I'm not 100% sure how exactly I want to do this, but my thinking would be maybe something like a big elevator here. I think that could sort of work. And then on the other side, I'm sort of thinking we do something like some left turn stairs or some right turn stairs. We will need an upstairs to make this happen, but I'm also thinking we can probably take out these corners and give ourselves something that's a little bit more of an interesting design than just a straight square tower. So I think this is kind of the shape we'll go for. I also want to maybe just put some little grass corners in here. We'll change that out to have the lower fence as well, and then just copy that into all of those empty spaces. So we still have a little bit of grass in there, which I think is totally fine. And I think we probably also want to get this place painted up to be just sort of a nice plain kind of light color with a nice dark floor. Materials wise, the exterior of the tower can be, I could do paneling. I could see paneling. I don't dislike paneling, but I'm thinking something kind of, I don't know. I like that texture. I think that's kind of interesting looking. Something a little bit flatter might be nice. Something like that, just to keep it really simple. And I think that's what we'll go for. We'll go for something a bit flatter and a bit simpler. We'll go for the nice sort of standard interior walls as we usually do. And then the floor, I want it to be, I like that. I do like that. So that's what we're going to go for on the floor of this place. Now, when it comes to windows, I think those are going to be important as well. I think we can get some windows into sort of these spaces just so we have some light carrying through the area. And then what I'd like to do is copy this. We're going to move up and we're going to move up. And that's basically how we're going to get into this space. So if I go to elevators, I want to place these guys so they are right here and here. And now we have access to this top space. Of course, we still need to get rid of these doors, and we obviously need to get some stairs in here. Although in saying that, I kind of want to turn this into an atrium. I kind of want this entire space to be opened up a little bit, which is going to be slightly tricky because I've done it in the wrong place here. So what we want to do is knock this out into an atrium and this out into an atrium. And that just gives us this big open space that I can absolutely work with. That does slightly mess with my plans though, because I think I'm going to need to go in here and get some balconies. So we want them facing that way, and we want one on the other side facing that way. It does mess with my windows in the corners, unfortunately, but I think that's all right. We can do the same thing here. That's not the right way at all. Same thing here, and the same thing here. And again, that gives us that open space in the middle that I'm kind of looking for. The balconies here, really, they just exist to, I guess, let me have the atrium in the middle. That's about the only reason that they're here. It's just necessary for how the game works. But what we can do is go back in here and then just place elevators here and here. And they're basically going to be useless. This is just an elevator shaft at this point. No one's going to be getting out on these balconies. They'll go straight into the upper building, but that's totally fine. When it comes to the space down here, I think what we can maybe do is go ahead and get something like maybe some left quarter turn stairs and put them, say, there, for example. And then what I need to do is get myself some left turn stairs, and they're going to go like this. Now, this is going to be a little bit weird. That's for sure. It's definitely going to be a very kind of unique looking space, but this is the kind of thing, this is how people are going to get into the upper part of this building, is basically by doing something like this. It doesn't look great. It doesn't. Let's be honest. It really doesn't look great, but it's kind of all I've got. It really is. It's all I've got. So it's what we're going for. Now we'll darken things down a little bit here. We'll darken things down a little bit on the steps themselves. And then the tertiary is the railing, which I'm not too worried about because it is going to be glass. So it sort of blends in with everything else that we have going on. And that's how we're going to get access to this upper part of the Nerdersoft HQ. It's not great. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not, but it'll do the job and it should be fine. I am also realizing that with these curves, I'm building on an angle again, aren't I? I'm definitely I have made this more difficult for myself once again. I think what we'll do, just to try and simplify this a little bit, is I want to come in from here, and we'll go straight across like this, and we'll sort of divide that space up. we will go from here to about there and divide that space up. And then we want to somehow, some way, just come around the stairs and the elevators to sort of divide all of this space up. So we'll just sort of shrink this all down as much as we possibly can. We will merge these into some rooms, and maybe we'll just put some kind of hallway around this little central section. So we could maybe do this, we could maybe do this, and we'll do something similar on this side as well. We can do the same thing up on this side. And then what I think I'd like to do is just sort of rearrange some of these little sections here. So let me go ahead and merge you guys into a single space, and then let me merge these guys into a single space. Then these three rooms get merged into a single space, and that gives us a little corridor around here, which I'm completely fine with. What we can do to open that up is go in with some archways, so it doesn't necessarily feel like it's just a corridor. And then for here, I'm kind of thinking we do just a little archway and an archway. So you come up the elevators, you kind of get into this little central space, you kind of, you know, spread out and do your thing. We can have some studios over here on the side, over on this side, and up here as well. I do wonder, could I maybe go through and do a wall straight here? Apparently not. That's really unfortunate. I was hoping I could do that because that would make for a really good little studio space. That's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, what do I want to do here? What do I want to do here? I can't divide it down the middle. That really sucks. I guess I could go straight across and make that into a weird sort of leader's office, and then maybe do a corridor here. So these are two development spaces on either side. I think this might just end up being one big development space. So what we'll do is put a door here and a door here. And then for these spaces in here, I think what we could do is maybe give them sort of a nice, slightly smaller door just there, and a slightly smaller door, I want to say there. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm realizing we do need bathrooms. So a bathroom here and a bathroom here seems like a great idea. And we'll do the same over on this side as well. Bathroom here and here. And that's going to be a couple of small development spaces, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I don't mind a couple of smaller development spaces. I think that'll be perfectly fine. Now, I will say there are some benefits to doing what I'm doing here, which is that because this new structure is connected to these existing structures, things like air conditioning and heating are all sorted. Although what I'm doing with these little leaders' offices is going in and using ventilation and radiators because I put some carpets down. I was going to outline the office in carpets, and then I realized I would only have that one little square in the middle. So I sort of decided against outlining the office, and I just decided to place carpets down in the entire thing, which is fine, I suppose. It's not the worst looking thing that we have going on, and maybe that can be color coordinated with whichever team happens to have their leader in this office, which is most likely going to end up being some kind of updates team to begin with. Now, I will say my plan here is relatively simple. I want to fill out this entire space with desks, computers, and just everything it's going to need, because I don't really see a need to build more floors of this thing just yet. But what I can do is just go ahead and copy and paste it up when we have a need to do that. So that's kind of my plan here. Now, what I think I will do is look at getting a decent little spread of desks into some of these spaces. So I think here we can have a couple of desks. I might need to shuffle these a little bit because looking at the layout, it's not necessarily going to work. If I was to try and get these guys central though, that's going to be a bit of a pain. So maybe we do this a slightly different way around. This could go there, which I'm kind of okay with. We could do another one, maybe not there actually. I think what we'll do is put a couple of desks here and we'll have one right there. So that gives us room for 3 employees. I think in this corner, we can do another 1. That's 4. That's 5. That's going to be 6. That's going to be 7, 8, and 9, which is all right. We have some space in here to play with as well. I don't want to put them in there, but we could maybe do, what is that, 10, 11. I could probably line them along the windows if I really wanted to, which now that I look at it, I'm really not quite against the idea of doing that. I think a couple of employees over there is a pretty great idea. We can get a couple of employees just over there as well. And if I wanted to, it looks like I can get another one there. And it looks like I can probably get another one there as well. That's a little bit cramped, I will admit. It's 15 desks though, so it's not all bad. That is not all bad at all. I think I'm kind of okay with it being a little bit cramped. And I'm also thinking I could probably have some fun with carpets down through the middle here. I think that'd be kind of a nice little touch. We could maybe come around these offices, but I think through the middle there is probably fine for some carpets. I do wonder, can I get away with maybe 2 of these guys for air conditioning? It doesn't really look like it. We'll do 2 of them there, and we'll do 1. I don't know where to know where else to put these things. Can I get one that just hugs that wall? It doesn't really seem like it, does it? That's a little bit unfortunate. I guess I could put it under there. I don't think it needs to be maintained, which is good. And then we'll just do the heating one in sort of the same spot there, there, and there. And that'll keep the place nice and warm, which is great. We do need some lights in here, so we'll just have a look at what this looks like at nighttime, which currently is obviously very, very dark. So we'll get a light here. We will get a light here and here, which brightens up that space perfectly. We can get a light into this spot and this spot, which kind of brightens all of those up. And then my thinking is maybe we play around a little bit with one of these guys and try and get it into that corner or something. I don't know if that's necessarily the right idea, but I'd like to, I don't know, that looks a little weird, but I think I'm going to go for it just because it's a little bit different. And it does sort of cast some cool lights out from the tower. So I think that's kind of what we're going to go for. Obviously, this space needs some decorations. It might need some bookshelves on these corners, which is totally a thing we can do, but that's all right. I think for lighting, we're in a relatively good spot. I might go so far as just putting a little desk lamp there and there, since that little spot is a bit darker. And I want those to be, I'm going to go for a nice kind of white on those as well. I think that'll look pretty good. The light is going to be like that, which is fine. The lights themselves in here, I think, can also just be sort of nice and bright whites. I think I'm okay with that. And then obviously when we get a team in here, we might change some colors here and there just to sort of reflect the colors of the team. But this is good. That's 15. Actually, how many desks? Yeah, it was 15 desks. That's more than enough for an updates team. And if we have bigger teams, we can spread them across multiple offices. But that's fine for this space. What we'll go ahead and do very quickly is just decorate it a little bit, then copy it to the other side. And there we go. We have ourselves an entire new development space. I think it looks all right. I went a little bit overboard, I think, with some of the carpets. And I also noticed I've missed a little spot in there, which I can't put a carpet in because we have a little bit of air conditioning down there that I actually can't get my hands on. So I'm going to need to just ever so slightly adjust the positioning of you and that other one as well. I could just put these in the middle of the floor if I wanted to, which I don't know. It looks a little tacky when I do that, but I think I might just have to. Or I could just sort of align them, I guess, to these windows and put one, say, there. That looks a little weird, having it sort of stuck there. I don't know that I love that. I'll just put it underneath that desk, and we'll do the same thing with this one. We'll just put it underneath this desk, and everything should be fine. And then what I can do is just put the carpet in that corner, put the desk back, put the carpet in that corner, and put this desk back. And I need to do the same thing over here as well. And with that out of the way, we now have a new development space that I can go ahead and start bringing some new people into. So what I'd like to do is go into my teams, and I want to sort by name. I want to go down to updates day and night. And my thinking is these guys are going to be renamed a little bit. So we have updates 1 day, and then it's going to be updates 1 night. So we're going to have this one team with a day and night shift, which is totally fine. I would like to copy that into updates 2 day, and then we're going to have an updates 2 night shift as well at some point. But what I'd like to do before we even get there is make sure that we're sort of spreading things out a little bit, because what we're noticing is a need for both programmers and artists when it comes to some of these updates. So what I think we'll do is go for something like 8 programmers, 7 artists, and that's going to be updates 2 day. When it comes to specializations, they are totally fine. When it comes to traits, though, I want to get rid of this one. We keep getting complaints about the buses filling up, and I've noticed in a few of my teams, there are a lot of people that will only walk and will not use cars. So I want this to be gone. I do want fast learners. I think that's important. I might even say no specialization point limit in main role, just to see how that goes for these guys. And we'll make sure that they will use cars, because I think that's important. Admittedly, also having them, you know, not stink up an elevator would be important, but I think we'll be fine with this as our setup. So what we'll do, now that we have that team, is go into this space and we'll select this space. We will set both of those to the updates to day team, which is totally fine. Updates to night can have this office for their team leader, which I think is completely fine as well. And I guess what we want to do is grab this color while we're here, and we will just select the carpets in all of these spaces and change those out for that sort of reddish pinkish color, which might look a little bit much in here. That's a lot. It is a lot, but I'm thinking I'm gonna allow it just for the time being to see how this goes. And we're gonna get ourselves a team leader for this team. We don't need to worry too much about socialization. I'm not super worried about that. And I think we'll begin looking. We'll sort by skill. We have Rose Lee. You can't do automation, but honestly, that's fine. We will go ahead and put you into updates today. You are hired. Congratulations. And if we look at that team, all I need to do is manage roles, make sure you're not doing any of this, and you're going to be a team leader. So that should mean that you're going to come in here and start hiring people to updates 2, which is fantastic. And it should mean that if I go to my updates project management task, we can go in here and we can add updates today to that task, and it's already got sorted out. The complaint is gone, which is great. That is hopefully going to speed things up a little bit for us, which is what we're looking for. And that should mean that we have some people coming in here at some point to work in here. So very quickly, let's go to manage teams. Let's go to updates 1 night. We will copy those guys to updates 2 night and do the same thing basically. Although I do want to make sure that we have night owls. I want that to be preferred because these guys are going to be working at night. That is going to be important. So that does mean that they don't have the big brain thing, but they'll be a little bit less miserable working at night. I'm also going to experiment with best then secondary for role selections on this just to see how it goes. And we can go in, we can hire some employees and begin looking for exactly the same thing. Sort by skill. We have Frederick Grant. Congratulations. You're going to be going into updates to night, and we will do exactly the same thing here. We'll go to manage roles. You're not doing any of this. You are going to be the team leader, and we can go in to the updates task once again, and we want to add updates tonight into the mix, which should mean that our updates are going a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficiently, and we have more people at any one time working on these things. It's also a little bit weird that we do keep getting this issue where the game devs, oh, this is someone from support. Yeah, I don't know why people seem to want to just fill up this space. This is someone from the legal team for some reason in here. I just don't get it, but you know what? It's fine. It's totally okay. It doesn't make any sense, but you know what? More power to them. If they want to chill in here, then sure, go for it, I guess. Now, the good news is that we do have some people coming in here to work. I don't know if you are not on any team that I have put into this building. I don't know who you're supposed to be working for. That's porting number 2. We should have any second now. There we go. We've got updates 2 coming in here. We have their team leader, which is great. So we do have these guys coming in here, which is perfect. That should improve the updates project management quite a little bit. I'm not too sure if it'll improve efficiency, but it should at least make those tasks a little bit easier for everyone to manage and stay on top of. I'm also thinking we might need to get some cleaners assigned to this part of the building. We do have some coming through, but they seem a little bit slow, which isn't really ideal. Anyway, it is January 2013, so let's stay on top of our research the way we usually do. We want to get this going as quickly as we possibly can. We're very close to patenting 2012, which is great news. Very, very excited about that one. Very keen to see how that goes and whether or not it ends up making a whole shed load of money as well. We did fail the fire inspection, which is apparently this room down here that's causing problems. That's interesting to say the very least. I suppose they probably want some kind of sprinkler system and some kind of fire alarm. Yeah. All right. Apparently that's all we needed. I'm sure that entire new tower is going to be a problem, and I probably should I mean, it's a good thing I didn't copy. Where is it? It's a good thing I didn't copy and paste the this entire thing up yet. It is just this one floor. So definitely a good thing that we didn't go too crazy with that. But that's not so bad. Oh, wait a minute. We just released Echo 6. It has 31,000 active users. It made $1.9 million. Okay. I'm the owner. I'm the designer. That's cool. All right. No framework. Fair enough. In-house, no. January 2013. All right. So if we look at our releases, it is good. It is visionary. Echo 5 was great in visionary. So it's getting worse is what I'm seeing here. Echo 4 was outstanding in visionary. So we're getting worse with this, which might be because the project management task is having some serious problems. I don't love that this is happening. I might go in here and say that the updates on this can also be done by updates 2, just to see if that improves things. Porting for this, I don't know if that's part of the problem. I really don't know. I really don't quite understand why we've fallen so far with all of these projects. We're giving them 150%. We'll do 100. You know what? Do 200% development time. They're aiming for October 2015 in the next one. I wouldn't be against it getting pushed back. I don't love that the quality is starting to suffer from Nerdrasoft. I really don't enjoy the fact that that's happening, but I don't entirely understand what I'm doing. I don't know what's going wrong because so many of these project management tasks were totally fine for the longest time and then just, well, they just fell off something fierce, and I don't really know what I'm doing there. I would, however, like to... Why are you all idle? Hold on a minute. What is the updates project doing right now? You're updating Space Command, you're updating Private Stabby Face, Frame OS, you're updating Space Command 4, you're doing some bug fixes, you're updating Notebook, but you're all sitting there not doing anything. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on with some of these tasks. We'll not worry too much about it, because to be quite honest, I want to fill up some more of this space. I really do. I want to fill up a little bit more of this space. I'm not too sure what to put in here because, I mean, most of everything else we could be developing right now is stuff we have done in some capacity before. So it might be worth looking at something new. We could go into a new type of game and get another game dev team in here and project manage them and see how that goes. It might not be a good idea, but it might be what we do. At the very least, I do want to have a look because Game Dev Day is doing nothing right now. And if I'm not mistaken, Game Dev Day is run by Bella, and that's the Space Command team, right? So Space Command 4 was June 2011. We have done basically nothing with that since. It is still doing 5 million though, to be fair. Private Stabby Face, 5.4 million. So I really can't complain too much about, how it's doing. 3.3 million units sold is kind of fantastic. It's still doing really well. But that tells me that for about a year and a half, the game dev team has been doing nothing. So let's, I don't want to update it. It's probably been thrown into automatic updates. Let's start working on a sequel. I think Space Command 5 is something we can do in terms of frameworks. I mean, if we look at releases, we have Commander 2, which is all right. I think it's outdated on pretty much every front though. So yeah, that framework's not going to do much for anything other than multiplayer. We could be controversial. We could do something that could damage the franchise. We could definitely make it an MMO. That seems like it would be, it gives me boss fights for the expansion. You know what? Oh, do we take, oh wait, no, it's a real-time strategy game. How would that work? I forgot it. This isn't our first-person shooter. Oh, hold on. Okay, we're not going to make it an MMO. That seems silly. It is a real-time strategy game. So from an RTS point of view, I feel like 2013 was still a really good time for real-time strategy games. I'm pretty sure StarCraft 2 was still relevant, and I'm pretty sure there were quite a few other RTS games coming out at the time. So what do we want in our real-time strategy game that we don't have yet? We could do physics so that there are, destructible environments, right? That's the new thing for Space Command 5 is that it's got physics now. I think that would be kind of cool. We could do dialogue trees. I think real-time strategy games do like to dabble in the idea of having, dialogue trees, like your commander's talking to someone else. I think that's kind of cool. And I think we could maybe do VR. Virtual reality would be very interesting. I feel like VR wasn't really being dabbled with, 12 years ago. I think it's the last 5, 6, 7 years. I might be wrong on that, but I feel like it's 12 years back for VR. It was in its infancy. Maybe Space Command 6 could be like one of those where you can play it in like a VR mode. So I don't think we'll do that. Wacky physics, I don't think we'll do that. I think we're fine with physics and dialogue trees for Space Command 5. And then, yeah, the 6th one can introduce VR. And if we do a 7th one, if this series is still going, and by that I mean the Software Inc. series that you're watching and not the franchise for the game, if there is a 7th one, it's going to be a reboot. And I want to say we might just call it like Space Commander or something like that, or we'll come up with another name. Like, I don't know. I don't like doing 7th. I think, there's some franchises, there's some game franchises in the world that you look at and it's like, it's okay if it's like Final Fantasy 21 or, FIFA 2073 or whatever. That's fine, but I feel like it's like Halo, right? They did Halo 5 and then they did Infinite, and they're probably not going to just do Halo 6. So I feel like you get to a point. I think Far Cry is in the same spot. I'd be surprised if the next Far Cry game is Far Cry 7. I think it's Far Cry. Yeah, I think the next one's 7. I think when you get to 7, you reboot or you put a subtitle in there. So Space Command 5 is totally fine. All of this is good. Let's continue forward. And let's see what I can use here. Annoyingly, Pixel 7 is horrendously outdated. I don't love that. I don't love that. Tech level 2007 versus 2010. We're going to use someone else's thing here. It kind of seems like it seems like all of my stuff is falling behind on its tech levels now. We're really starting to suffer. Yeah, 2007 here as well. I think that might be part of the reason we're having trouble. Looking at active users, let's go for these top 2 right here, and then FrameOS 2 and FrameOS. We can port to everything else. Maybe these top 3 would be a good idea. Maybe we'll get a phone in there as well, just so we have 5.1 million potential users. That seems good. We'll analyze the market. We want to go all in on gameplay, so we will apply that, which is totally fine. And then for developing this, it is going to be Game Dev Day, and it is Game Dev Day. Approximately 3 years to do this. And because that's in red, that's most likely going to be about 4 years to do this. I don't love that. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure Bella... when did this company... The company starts in 1980. I'm pretty sure your character starts at like 20. So I think in 2024... So Bella has like 11 years left with this company, I think. I think they retire at 64. I might be wrong on that. So this might be 4 years will bring us to 2017. I think Bella might get the opportunity to do Space Command 6 if I start working on it pretty much immediately as this one goes out. I don't know if Bella is going to be with the company when Space Command 6 is done, though. It depends how long it takes to develop that one. But we'll go ahead and start developing Space Command 5 just to get that going. We'll patent 2012 systems as well, which is great. Sergeant Stabby Face 3, Knife to Meet You, is in its 4th design iteration, which I'm completely fine with. We'll just let that do its thing. Nebula is coming along. And I guess we're kind of at a point where we just want to see how things go. It is 2013, to be fair, so we do have FrameOS 3, the first automated one going out in August. We have Plumbob 2 in December. September next year is Notebook 2, which is great. And then everything else is kind of just suffering. I am really deeply concerned about everything else suffering. I will say these projects where there are fewer tasks. Oh no, Plumbob 2 has like 1 task and Tiffany is terrible at it. So I actually have no idea. have no idea why this is going so badly. That's really, really weird. I think Tiffany might just be useless. That's a distinct possibility there. When it comes to Echo, there are a bunch of tasks in here, which is fair enough. It might be worth just sort of not doing, I don't know, maybe we don't do updates for this. Maybe, I mean, it is being handed off to a different team, but maybe I throw it at the updates task. I really don't know. I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall, and I feel like it's a really boring, I feel like the series is suffering because every episode we keep looking into project management and we're like, why is this failing? And we can't come up with a reason for why project management is doing so badly. Because again, you know, as I am reading through the comments, and there's like 20 different reasons or possible reasons as to why project management isn't working. And I've experimented with so many of them, and I can't figure it out, man. I've got nothing. I do not know what we're doing here. I don't know how to fix this, and it's very, very frustrating. Now, something I have gone ahead and done here is duplicate my game dev day shift team, because I want to start working on another game. I do want to get at least one more franchise going here. Now, unfortunately, my game dev team, at least game dev 2, is going to be limited to 15 people, which isn't exactly ideal. So I think what we might have to do is copy this team over, and it's going to be game dev 2 night, and both game dev 2 teams can work on a single project. That way we have 30 developers working on something, in the same way that game devs 1 day and 1 night have 40 each, and each have their own respective franchise. So, you know, game dev 1 does Space Command, these guys do Sergeant Stabby Face, and then these guys, well, I'm thinking they're going to work on something that is, it is a game that we've done before in a different Software Inc. series, but funnily enough, it's a game that actually ended up existing, and we'll talk about that when we get to the game development. But for now, what I'd like to do is have a look at HR management and make sure that we're not bringing in 40 people. We will do, let's say 6, and 6 is 12, and 3 is fine. Specializations are fine. We're not doing hardware. And for traits, I don't want anybody that's going to walk instead. I want to try and avoid that. So 6, and 3 with those same traits will be applied to the night shift. In fact, let's just make sure that we're doing 6 here, and 3 here. And then the traits, again, we'll go for Night Owl is preferred, and this one is not wanted at all, which should be totally fine. So that'll be good for those guys. Definitely looking forward to that one. And I just want to make sure, yeah, active task specs are going to be important. So what I think I'll do is go ahead and start working or developing this game first, because then the people hiring, also Nextbox has a press release good to go out. The people doing the hiring can hire employees based on what the game needs. So it is going to be, well, it should probably be something like an adventure game as opposed to a role-playing game. It probably should be a first-person shooter. It is technically a first-person shooter, but I think in this case, we're going to go role-playing game. So I'm not going to make a one-to-one of what this game actually is in real life now, but we're going to sort of go with a name that's thematically similar. We will do a customizable character, dialogue trees, branching story. We're going to build out a good role-playing game, basically. We're going to do open world because, of course, we are post-processing, advanced HUD, adaptive music, recorded dialogue, 3D graphics, of course, with shadows and facial animation. We're not going to do cutscenes. Actually, we will do cutscenes. Well, we'll do cutscenes. Why not? This is going to take such a long development time, and no multiplayer. I'm okay with that. That's fine. No multiplayer is fine. We're going to go for $75. I think that's good. Framework is going to be new, and it's going to be, I don't really care what it's called. It's just going to be the RPG engine, because that's totally fine. And the name of this is, you might have guessed, King Doom, which is, in fact, if I remember right, it was King Doom. No, we didn't do the all caps initially, did we? So King Doom is what we're doing. And the idea for King Doom, when we did it in a previous series, was you took like the game Doom and you put it in like a medieval setting. And then Doom the Dark Ages got announced, and there were a bunch of people on a certain social media platform that I'm not gonna name and that I don't use anymore because it's absolute garbage. Well, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, this is King Doom," and I was like, "Oh my God, this is King Doom." So, yeah, apparently, it's not the first time that's happened with a Software Inc. series of mine where I've come up with an idea for a game and then like a year or two later, it actually turns out it's a thing. I think Doom the Dark Ages sounds really cool, so yeah, King Doom, we're doing that again. Let's let's continue on with this. The 2D editor in question is going to be, man, we need to update some stuff. We really do. I need to go through and make sure that I'm adding everything to the updates task, because that might be something we're falling behind on, actually. We'll go ahead and use this. And the operating systems for this guy will be the top 3, and then FrameOS 2 and FrameOS, because I think that's important. 4.5 million users is good. And then we'll go for interesting. We want to really go in on story for this one, which I'm fine with. I think that's important for an RPG. And the developers on this will be, we want to go for game dev 2 day and night. Same with here. We want 2 day and night. No lead designer right now. That's totally fine. I'm not worried about it. We need 10, 12, and 7, which we will have. So we'll start developing this, which is all right. And then we'll hire some team leaders for these teams. So we'll go into hire employees. We just want a good leader. We do want HR. We do want multitasking. I don't think I need automation. We'll do a bit of socialization in there as well. And we'll go for skill. So Linwood Wolf, you are probably fine. We'll go ahead and put you into game dev 2 day is fine. And then Dalton Sims, you're going to be going to game dev. If we have a little look here, game dev 2 nights actually is the one I want to go for there. Just to be nice and careful with it. Make sure I put them in the right team. Managing roles, very simple. You're going to be doing none of this, and you're going to be doing all of this, which is totally fine. And then the same thing down here, we'll manage those roles, all of this, none of this, not really interested in you doing any of that. And we should have both of those two hiring people, hopefully, based on what is needed for King Doom. So we'll assign, who do we want to go for here? You have some good skill with games. Your creativity is limited, but we'll go for Carlo Jenkins as the project lead on this, or the lead designer on this, I should say. And then I probably want to assign some people to these rooms, right? So let's make sure that this is for game dev 2 day and night. This little room right here is going to be for game dev 2 day. And this room over here is going to be for game dev 2 night. So that'll stop people from using those offices, which I think is kind of important. These 2 smaller offices also need to be limited to just team leaders to make sure that's good. NextCon has a press release good to go as well. And then now I just need to grab the color for the carpets, which is also kind of important. This is going to be a very, very red looking floor in this new part of Nerdosoft HQ, but I'm all right with that. I think we can make it work. We'll go ahead and say primary, secondary, and tertiary. I'm pretty sure they're separate different shades of red, right? They look very similar. Very, very similar shades of red going on there. So that might, that might end up a little confusing, but we should be all right. We should be okay. I think we'll manage. Let me also make sure that we haven't had any team leaders quit, which it looks like they haven't, which is fine. Who was stressed about having too many tasks or long hours? Updates 2. Interesting. Updates 2. If we have a look at them, how many tasks do you have right now? 6. And then you guys have 4. You guys have 8. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Let me have a look at the updates thing here, because I want to make sure if we look at our most recent releases, we want to make sure everything is in here that should be in here. So Echo 5, for example, should probably be here. Pixel 6 should be here. I think that's fine. I think we can work with that. There might be stuff in here that shouldn't be in there, but we'll just see how that goes is what we'll do. And we'll hope that that's going to be that's going to be good. I'm hoping for good things with this project. I really don't know. I am wondering if I should take updating out of the other things, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if it all works out. Oh no, this is interesting. I may or may not have forgot to set these guys to come in at 5 p.m. and leave at 1 a.m. So we have both of these teams in here today. That's not exactly ideal. I think what we'll do is maybe just send both groups home. That seems like a fair idea. I think they will both go home because their shift is technically over. But yeah, there's some people complaining about noise and all sorts of things. That'll hopefully get sorted out once everybody's actually working the shift that they're, supposed to be working. We also do probably want to get some more cleaners to deal with all of this. We are cleaning it, but it seems like during the day we just don't have enough cleaners, or potentially IT guys. That might be something we want to get our hands on as well. Let's go into manage staff, and let me just hire, I don't know, let's have them come in at like 6 a.m. I think that's fine. And we're going to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 IT guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 maintenance guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 cleaners as well. They can get in early. They can help get the place sorted. Are we being, oh no, I swear if they get, we're good. If I was going to be annoyed, if they even got to the door, but apparently we've kind of sorted that out, which is great. Oh, it's award season. Let's see. Best employer. It better be me. It absolutely is me, which is fantastic. So best designer. Is it me? It's me. It's me. Of course it's me. And most profitable product. I don't know. It was me. Okay. All right. I'm not 100% sure how we keep doing this, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. We've almost filled up the awards room. It would already be filled if we hadn't been robbed about 40 times, but hey, let's stop beating that dead horse. There we go. That's getting there. Another, 3 years and we'll have to get more shelves? I'm okay with that. Unless we get 4 awards in one of those years, in which case it's another 2 years. That's also assuming that I keep getting 3 awards every, that's very egotistical of me, but I'm going to assume that I'm going to win some awards, okay? I think it's a safe bet that I'm gonna be all right and might happen to win some awards. Let's bring some more staff in here. Let's say we want some 6 p.m. cleaners. Seems like a great idea just to help deal with this whole place. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that can go anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4 maintenance, 1, 2, 3, 4 IT, and yeah. We'll see how that goes. I'm hoping bringing a few more people in here is going to get this computer sorted out, because it's been sitting here broken for a while, and I don't entirely know why. I also don't love that these offices are routinely filthy. So doing something about that, I think, is going to be a really good thing. And I'm also realizing it is now August, right? No, it's July. It's June, July, August. Anyway, next month is August, which means FrameOS 3. We're getting very close to Nextbox as well. That's November. So we have a really big end of 2013 coming up, and I'm kind of excited about it. I realize I'll be honest with you, I'm ever so slightly just passing the time right now because I want to see how things go. We also managed to finish this research. Let's go ahead and start working on patenting 2013 systems. We should be able to do that relatively quick. We do have some competitors aiming for Q3 2014, but we should be done before they are, which is great. King Doom is coming along a little bit slower than I'd like, but it'll be all right. We have 6 out of 7 required artists. That should be fine as well. And we do have people working probably too many tasks, I would imagine. Yeah, updates too, probably not happy about that. And people struggling to concentrate because of people in their office. They will manage, I am sure. The project management team Frame just released the computer operating system FrameOS 3. It is great and inspiring, which is fine. The last one was outstanding and inspiring, but we're not going to talk about that. It has sparse marketing, which is concerning. It needs to make 3.3 million to break even, which is also concerning. We could order some copies, which I don't know that it's going to sell 3.3 million copies. The last one did 846. So I am willing to order some copies. I'm willing to order 1 million copies, which is possibly more than you know what, we'll do We'll do 500,000 copies. I'm willing to do that. Not that I think we're ever going to make that money back anytime soon, but I'm willing to do it anyway. And I also want to just double check that we do have marketers on this, right? We do have marketing 3. We do have marketing 1. They should be fine. The updates teams will be working on this around the clock because I think that's important. Boarding is kind of a non-issue. It's an operating system, so that's fine. And existing products would be FrameOS and FrameOS 2. I'm not going to bother trying to further automate FrameOS. I think it's fine. Yeah. 2018 is the next one, FrameOS 4, which that's fine. 150% on the development time means they could probably turn that around a little bit quicker, but I'm curious to see if it makes money. That's kind of all I'm interested in, is whether or not it happens to make any money. I'm hoping it does, and it actually did. Credit where it's due. It made 4.1 million last month, which is great news. FrameOS 2 in its lifetime did 77 million. FrameOS did 14. So if FrameOS 3 happens to be absolutely incredible, then that's only going to be a good thing. And we do have some other releases lined up as well. So October 2014 for the next Pixel, January 2016 for the next Voxel, obviously December this year for Plumbob, but we are a breath away from getting Nextbox out the door. Also interesting that the effectiveness here of the updates team has just shot up a little bit there. It'd be nice if that continued. Let's go ahead and get this press release out for Nextbox. Let's go ahead and send out a press build as well. We have fixed so many bugs in that little console that I'm hoping it's going to be amazing. I'm really hoping it's going to be amazing. I really want good things out of that. I really want it to succeed. I would also like to see all of this stuff get through its design phases a little quicker than it's going, but I think we're going to have to wait on that one. Okay, so it is November 2013, which means that Nextbox gets to go out the door today. I'm very excited about this one. I'm very, very keen to see how this goes. It feels like it's been a minute since we've had just a manual sort of release from the company, one that I've overseen. So 141 followers is nothing, but I'm hoping it's going to be good quality. I'm really, really wanting it to be a good thing here. So NextCon is the controller. It is 5 stars. It is 5 stars, but no one knows who we are in this market. I'm okay with that. That's all right. I'm not going to order copies because I think we have some already out there. I think. The marketing campaign for this, let's have a look and see who's not doing much right now. They're all doing something. So we'll have marketing 3 deal with the controller with a marketing budget of, I'm going to say $35,000. And I think that'll be fine. Nextbox itself fails to appeal to anyone. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on a minute. This might actually be okay because looking at it, I think they don't know who we are in this market. But the quality is actually really good. So that might be fine. We might actually be okay here. We'll give it a marketing 1. We're going to give it a $75,000 marketing budget, which is huge. And that's fine. That's okay. We're going to say a maximum of 500,000 controllers is what we're looking for. And we'll see how that goes, is what we're going to do. We will see how that goes. It is on that assembly line, which is fine. I may have slightly screwed up by not having it getting printed already, but that's fine. Support for this thing needs to be a top priority. So let me have a look at my support teams and see who's doing what. You guys can both kind of double team the Nextbox supports. That should be fine. NextCon marketing and Nextbox marketing need to be super top priority. So we're going to move both of those right up to the top here, which I think is good. So marketing 1 and marketing 3 working on those. This is fine at a 5. Is there anything I can stop marketing? Probably FrameOS 2, now that I think about it. So that'll be all right. And then what I'd like to do, it is outstanding, but it is ordinary. I'm okay with that. It needs to make 37 million to make some money. I want to update this thing. Everything needs to come up to modern standards as quickly as we can possibly do it. So it's going to include hardware, which is fine. So I want to put the updates guys on this. I think that's important. I want to put the console guys on this. I think that's important. I want to put the OS guys on this. I think that's important. And my systems research guys aren't really doing much right now, so they're going to work on this as well. And we'll try to get this update through day one. I'm hoping we can just bring all the tech up to a modern standard and see what happens. We probably do want to start working on Xbox 2 as quickly as possible. And I mean, this update looks like it might, I don't know if it's going to be a day one thing. We might be a little bit sluggish on this, which is unfortunate, but that's all right. It's by no means the end of the world. We do have marketing going for it, which is fine. It's a little sluggish in the marketing as well. I'm worried about this one. I'm I'm actually a little concerned about whether or not Xbox is going to do anything for us. We also look to have a whole bunch of controllers, I'm assuming, sitting down here. Oh no, a lot of this is for contracts, actually. Oh yeah, a lot of that's for contracts. Oh wait, no, that's all boxes of NextCon right there. Interesting. We might need more couriers. I might also be about to fail some contracts because I don't have enough couriers, which is certainly something. Let me go to manage staff and let me call a handful of couriers to get in here immediately, just to help clear this out. That update, unfortunately, isn't done. Marketing for neither of those was done as well. But the real question is, will Nextbox make money? Minus $47,292 is going to turn into $2 million. We also failed a few of those contracts, which is really, really unfortunate. In fact, we failed... The IP was purchased for that thing. That's fine. Yeah, I failed 2 contracts. That's all right. We can deal with that. We have Echo 5 out of stock. It should still be printing. That is getting managed, just badly. That's really unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate. That's kind of how that's gone. NextCon down here, it didn't sell. it didn't sell, which is fair enough. We only sold just shy of 11,000 Nextbox units, which, yeah, that might improve. That might pick up a little bit, but man, that sucks. That sucks. That's bad, man. That's really, really bad. I'm hoping that this update, once it goes out, that might get people like, hey, this thing's actually good, but I have some doubts. I have some very, very, very strong doubts about whether or not we're going to see a runaway success with our first console, which is deeply unfortunate, is what that is. That is deeply, deeply unfortunate. We're also quite slow on patenting this time around, which I don't love. Not sure how to feel about that one. The silver lining, or the good news here, is that why are you guys having trouble finding somewhere to sit? How is this happening? How do we not have enough chairs at this company? We did for the longest time. Oh, it's whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter. We are very close to having Stabby Face 3 good to go into development, which I'm fine with. We still haven't managed to max out marketing on any of this, which is not exactly ideal. Let's bring the priorities down a little bit in some of these guys. Obviously, marketing is also going to be doing some automated things, so they're probably just absolutely swarmed with tasks. Plumbob 2 is good and ordinary. That's not great, is what that is. That is not great at all. We'll do 50,000 units. I don't know. I feel like we've got into a bit of a rut with the company. Ever since I started relying heavily on project management, I feel like we've just... I don't know. I feel like we're not making anything good anymore. And maybe that's accurate, right? Like the company has become a $2.4 billion company where we're, you know, both literally and sort of metaphorically a factory, right? We're just churning things out now. Maybe we should sort of restructure Nerdrosoft a little bit. Maybe what we do is we take back certain projects from project management. So maybe we don't necessarily just churn out voxel. we can do, you know, I can kind of go through and start working on the next version of Voxel, but then we throw, you know, the updates for Voxel and the porting for Voxel could all go to project management instead of the actual development itself. That might not be the worst thing in the world. Now, Plumbob, it hasn't broken even, unfortunately. Nextbox 1.8 million is dire. 467,000 for NextCon. So yeah, we're gonna lose a fair chunk of money off of all of that, which which I don't love. Obviously, we could, I mean, hold on. Private Stabby Face just did 13.4 million last month. It is still selling. I think what we can do is look at porting this over to most recent releases. Let's port it to Nextbox manually. Let's do Space Command and port that over to Nextbox as well, just to see if we can maybe boost some sales that way. It would certainly be nice if that's kind of how things worked. Obviously, the porting teams are kind of swamped. This is the problem. I think we're just swamped. I think I'm throwing too many tasks at too many people, and that's maybe what's going on. I might, and I've seen some comments suggesting this, I might want to build out, and this is why we have this expansion, I might want to build out some marketing teams that are specifically for project management. I know we've kind of done that before. I think Marketing 3 was supposed to be that, or Marketing 3 was supposed to be mine. It was one way or the other. We probably do want to have a marketing team or several marketing teams that do project management, and then some that I rely on for my own projects. I think that's maybe what we want to look into. Now, looking at my releases, Notebook 2 is outstanding and inspiring. That's great. Needs 1 million to break even. That's fine. We will start printing it because of course we will. And we will say, I don't know, let's go for 50,000 copies of Notebook 2 and see if it's going to be a thing. The last one did 54, which is fine. These ports down here are taking a little bit longer than I would like. Maybe we just focus a little bit more on Private Stabby Face, which apparently we're not doing. That's fine. They might get done today. It looks like they'll get done today, which might boost the sales of the next box just a little bit. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is just get marketing. Let's get all marketing teams on Nextbox marketing. It needs to be unavoidable. We need people to see the marketing for this thing. It needs to be worldwide. People need to know it's there. They need to know it exists. They need to want the Nextbox. And we kind of need other people to make things for Nextbox as well. So we'll see if that actually happens. I ever so slightly have my doubts, but we will see. Sergeant Stabby Face 3 Knife to Meet You is going into development though, which is very exciting. 1.4 on Nextbox, 770 on NextCon. I don't love that. Don't love that. 12,800,000 in Private Stabby Face though. How is it looking in the overall profits? Oh, it is now the second most profitable thing we've ever done. Wow. I was not expecting that. 3.9 million net units sold. It is the second best selling thing we've ever done. Space Command 4. That's going to be hard to follow up. I've actually just realized that the two most profitable things this company has ever done came out 3 years ago. That's interesting. $236 million, $252 million from Space Command 4. They're still selling like crazy, but I think if Private Stabby Face keeps going the way it's going, we are going to see it become #1, which is wild considering that, you know, in the lore of this company, that is the prequel. That is the origin story. Oh, I mean, I knew this was coming, so you know what? We're not going to worry too much about the Fire Inspector right now. That's something I can do between episodes because I think that is going to do us for today. I'm not thrilled about Nextbox. Sort of, I don't want to say it's failed. I don't want to say it's a flop, but to be fair, it's got to make a lot of money before it's going to be a success. So yeah, that's a little tricky is what that one is. That is definitely a little bit tricky. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. I'm I am reluctant to have my console team continue working on another console. I'm not going to lie. There's a part of me that's looking at it and going, maybe they just don't do that. maybe they do something else. I don't know. We can bring the network, the 2D and the hardware up to date a little bit. We'll say that the console guys can work on this update because that's given them something to do at least, which is fair enough. Should be relatively quick to get through all of that as well, which is actually good. Credit where it's due to the console team. They really got through this update really quickly, which is fine. I don't know, man. I was really expecting more from Nextbox. Was really hoping for some good things there. I'm not thrilled about it. These guys are willing to give me 110 million for the Sergeant Stabby Face IP. So I should mention I have IP offers in my filters just because I like to see what people are willing to pay me, not because I'm ever going to sell one of my intellectual properties to another company. So 110 million for the Stabby Face IP, that's wild considering that, you know, one that we put out a couple of years ago is on the brink of becoming the most profitable thing this company has ever done in 35 years of Nerdersoft. That feels like underselling it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. That's definitely interesting. 2.5 million on Nextbox. That's a jump. That's actually good. That's after porting some things to Nextbox. So we might see some jumps. It might take some time. It might be a slow burn on that console. I really don't know. I really don't know what to think of it. I'm a little bit upset about it being, you know, not very good, but we'll send this update out at the very least. We might have to restructure project management. We have a lot of things we probably want to do with Nerdersoft to make it better and make it good and make it a success. Well, I say make it a success. I mean, let's be honest. Almost $2.6 billion. These guys, 747. They were founded 8 years ago. Wait, no, they were founded, 6 years ago? And they're the second most profitable. What do? They have 62 products. They must be buying things, right? Let's have a look here. Have they created anything? They created 2 things. That's wild. They created 2 things. So they recently did a phone operating system, which the first one didn't make a profit. The second one did 11. Interesting. So how does this company function? So they just released this. And then I guess they just spent time like buying. That must be how that's a wild business model, but I respect it. I'm not going to lie. So they make mobile operating systems and then they just seem to buy a whole lot of games. So that would be why they're offering 100 million for the Stabby Face IP. I guess the logic here is that maybe they buy out oh my God, that's genius. They buy out the games and then they port it to their operating systems, right? Is that the logic of this company? Is that how they've gotten to be worth 7.4 million or $740 million? Do I have to start doing that? I don't know. I'm starting to get carried away here. We're going to leave it there for today is what we're going to do. We are definitely leaving it there for today. I'm getting ideas and I don't know if they're good ones. So I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and think about that one. Either way, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Their offer has gone up. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.